What the Fed is really doing is building up the idea that rates will rise and getting the market almost anaesthetised to the actual event itself.
The US election is in November and it's been a very tight race between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. What has been happening to the US dollar in this eventful campaign?
Well, I think the politics is really starting to enter into US markets, including the dollar recently. Clearly, there's a wild card in the elections, and that's Donald Trump doing better and better in the polls up until the recent TV debate. So there is going to be a lot of politics in November, and as we build up to the election, expect to see a bit more volatility around the dollar. We've also got the Fed rate decision coming in November, and that's potentially going to be another volatility addition for everybody to watch.
So which currency will be affected the most during this election?
Well, I think that if you want to have a look at a really volatile currency to look at as a trading opportunity, have a look at what happens when Trump does better in the polls and what happens to the Mexican peso. If you look at the graph, you'll see that as his popularity has grown, the polls have shown that he's got more possibility of getting elected. You've seen the peso weaken because of his rhetoric against Mexican immigrants in the US. Then at a point very recently where there was a TV debate, he did badly in the polls and the critics said that he fared really very badly. The peso turned around on a dime and started to strengthen, and that's continued at the moment as the market digests whether he in fact is a serious contender.
So during this election, what will happen to US rates?
Well, we've got a decision coming up, and what the Fed is really doing is building up the idea that rates will rise and getting the market almost anaesthetised to the actual event itself. So as the talk of more hawkish rates and decisions comes through, you start to see the market react to that. What I think will actually happen in the November period is nothing, because who would want to stir up the market with another rate rise at the same time as the possibility of a very close election where they're really neck and neck at the moment. I think probably we're looking at December for action. It would be a bit of a shock if there was anything before that. What we're seeing at the moment is some of the Fed members talking it up again. So we're going through a hawkish month at the moment. We've got Bullard, I think Bullard saying that rate rises are expected and should be sooner rather than later because the economy is doing so well. You get a more dovish tone from Yellen as the chair. So what we're getting is just more and more language that tells people get ready for it. We don't know when it will be, but expect it probably to be lower and longer than the market originally expected when the taper tantrum happened. I would expect there to be perhaps another 0.25% at the end of the year.
So best to be safe than sorry.
Well, I think that there's a lot of politics at the moment. Clearly, there is an unknown in Trump. It's very difficult to know what policies he's going to put into action. He's not tried and tested. Clinton is. Clinton's more the known. So if it looks like Clinton's going to go ahead in the polls and win the election, then probably the focus goes back to the economy. But if it's going to be Trump, then there's some wild stuff ahead. Who knows what his foreign policy is going to be? He's an exciting character. He's a populist. Populist measures don't necessarily go well with the economy. They may look good now, but they may look bad in the future. And he's got some bridges to mend with some fairly big trading partners.
Well, thank you, Lorne, for speaking with us on this topic today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you at home for watching. Don't forget we have many interviews like this, so do click back. Goodbye for now.